Hey there, good morning. This is Blake Levine. Today I want to do a talk about living with bipolar disorder and cultivating the ability to be resilient. So, the first part of my talk is understanding that it is very hard to live with bipolar disorder. In my own journey, I was diagnosed at age 15, and it was very difficult to handle the reality of having a mental illness. I started to question everything that was going on in my life. I was fearful for the future. My parents were concerned if life would ever get better, if things would one day improve. And it took a long time to understand what was going on and also to figure out how to rebuild. So, along the path of getting stable, and over the last 20 years, I've had a lot of good successes in my life. I've been married for over 10 years. I have a 7-year-old daughter and a 3-year-old son. I've written a number of books and done a bunch of talks about mental health. And I started to learn that to survive with a mental illness, you have to develop resilience. And that means that when problems come up, when you're facing struggles and issues, it's easy to fall into addiction, to fall into sadness, but you have to learn how to cultivate your self-esteem so that you can keep picking yourself up after difficult experiences. I also have learned that many with bipolar are well enough to end up going out there and building careers. And I found that in the workplace, there can be all types of challenges. Examples are when you're in sales, you may have a lot of attempts to gain customers, but people either reject what you're selling, tell you they're not interested, or they end up saying, you know what, even though maybe we were going to do business together, I've chosen not to. And in those situations, you need to be able to say, you know what, it's okay. I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to keep pressing forward. And even if I face some failures or rejections, it doesn't mean I should give up. And I've learned with our mental health, it's vital to do that. I've seen people that have bipolar and do well for a while, and then something happens and they get really depressed, or their moods become off and they become manic, and they start to feel like, hey, I've worked so hard to rebuild my life, and did I lose everything I tried to achieve? And what I say to them is keep going, get the support you need, talk to a doctor, talk to a therapist, get some friends or family or some support, go to a group where you can meet others that are going through other issues like yourself. And when you do that, you get strong enough to say, you know what, I am resilient. I am going to keep going. I know it's a hard road. Nobody has ever said that living with bipolar is easy, and it's not meant to be. Unfortunately, though, for those of us that live with the condition, we have no choice but to figure out how to keep pressing forward and moving on with our lives. And what I have started to see is that when you cultivate that resilience, it helps with your mental health. You say, you know what, I'm going to make it. I'm going to find the right medicine. I'm going to find the right support. I'm going to get myself stronger. When you start going out and trying to build friendships, even if you feel like people don't like you or you feel like you're not making a lot of friends, being resilient enough, say, you know what, I'm going to keep trying. Even if I've talked to 5 people and they weren't nice, I'm going to keep going until I finally meet someone that does enjoy my company and my friendship. And even if you have 1 or 2 friends, that's a success. And these are the abilities that you need to live a full life with bipolar disorder. And the good news is there are people out there like me who are out there having children and being married and working and doing their best to live full lives with a mental illness. And even for those that are severely ill and can't do that, maybe they can't work, or maybe it's hard to go to school, or maybe they can't, get married, at least do what you're capable of. Maybe it's, having fun or doing something that's creative, or learning that, even though you don't have all the things that you see some other people having, you're still here and you're still important. And I believe God wants anyone with a mental illness to keep going and to know how beautiful and special and bright they are in our world. People with bipolar can sometimes think they're different, but they are all meant to be as they are. God created each human being to be exactly as they were, and even if you have some problems and issues, it doesn't mean you're a bad person, doesn't mean you're a failure or a loser. You are loved and successful in the eyes of God. I want to share a book about mental health. It teaches about addiction and mental illness. It also teaches how to build resilience and get hope and keep going. The book is called Depression, Bipolar, and Heroin. It teaches about my brother who passed away, sadly at 27, from a heroin overdose. The book Depression, Bipolar, and Heroin is a beautiful guide. It teaches so much about how to keep going and how to just rebuild your life. I'm going to share the link below. I also do a one-on-one coaching program virtually. You can check my website below to learn about it. And I pray for you today that life gets stronger and healthier and happier. And you remember that you are a beautiful, wonderful, bright light in our world. And even if you have bipolar, it doesn't take away who you are, how special you are to God. I thank you so much for checking this video out. And our channel here has hundreds of videos teaching as best I can to share my knowledge. Thank you so much.